Good morning, podcast listeners. This is Ed Franklin at the edfranklin.nolimits podcast. You can reach me at edfranklin.nolimits@gmail.com. And I hope everybody's getting ready for a warm weekend here in San Diego. If you're not in San Diego, sorry, it's going to be nice this weekend. How you guys doing? I continue to ask you to share my podcast if you hear it. I was on the John Riley Project podcast this Wednesday, and it went really well. You can see that podcast at John Riley Project. I think it's .com. Just put that in a search and you'll find it. Under podcasts, you can listen to it. It was a long conversation, but we talked a lot about Poway and the podcast and a little bit of marketing. And John does a great job. He interviews a lot of local politicians, a lot of local people. He interviews all kinds of different people. He has a very well-rounded podcast. And I encourage you to go to his website and look at that. He does good work. Again, share my podcast when you see it or listen to it. Please share it. If you like something or want to add something, or you want to be on the podcast, or you want to get somebody you know on the podcast, you can reach me at edfranklin.nolimits@gmail.com. So today, very positive today. I did an entire podcast yesterday and had to delete it because I had taken this spit screen off of my microphone that sounded terrible. So I hope it sounds better today. I'll, of course, listen to it before I post it. But today we're going to talk about nutrition, and not nutrition like eating right. We're going to talk about nutrition for your brain. What are you doing on a daily basis that's adding value to your brain? What are you reading? What are you thinking about? What are you looking in the mirror and telling yourself every day? I think it's important that every day we do something that's positive. And let's talk about reading first. You know, I came out, I think in my last podcast or the one before that, talked about, I kind of told you to stop reading books. I didn't mean to stop reading books. What I meant to say was, if you're going to read a book and you find some value in that book, and all of it or parts of it, use it. Execute it. Find something good in that book that you like and do it. Don't just read the book and go, it was a good book, and then go on to the next book. If you're going to find some value in something, exercise it. I mean, do what you're reading. One of my favorite business books ever is Good to Great. No, hold on. Yes, Good to Great. Sorry, just blanked out there for a second. It's written by a Stanford University professor, and it's a little slow in the first 3 chapters. It's talking a lot about numbers. So if you do read it or listen to it, get through those first 3 chapters, because it has a lot of value to it. A lot of value about how to pick employees and what these companies went through to get to the point to be in this guy's book. And it's just a great book. So Good to Great is an awesome book. And I've read some other books like Delivering Happiness, which is a story of Tony Hsieh, and The Dream Maker by Matthew Kelly. I'm blanking out today. It's that age is kicking in. But like I said, if you were, what are you doing to provide nutrition? So every morning, probably 360 days a year, because I do miss a couple days, I put something positive online. I don't make up these memes. I find them online. Sometimes I'll put something that I make up or that I feel passionate about. My wife sends me several of these during the year and says, hey, this is a good one. Why don't you put this on? And I do. I have friends that send me these memes. And a couple of years ago, I kind of just stopped doing it. I just kind of got off Facebook for a couple of weeks. And I actually had people texting me or messaging me saying, Ed, what, are you okay? Because we're so used to seeing you post and you're not posting. So I know there's some value to that for other people, and there's value to it for me. So the reason I started this years ago was to kind of, what could I do when I wake up in the morning that would get me on a positive track, right? Find a meme, find one and kind of read it, and hopefully it sticks in my head, put that positive notion in my head. And I want to just go over some of these memes today, and we'll, and then kind of talk about it and see if it resonates with you in any way. And I know this is kind of a fun Friday podcast. I want you to go into the weekend with something positive in your mind. So what are you putting in your brain? What are you reading? And I always say this, and I'll go back to the memes in a second. I always say that what you're reading and who you're hanging out with, I'll tell you where you'll be in 2 years. And I really believe that. I used to tell my kids that all the time. What are you putting in your brain? Who are you hanging around with? Are you hanging around positive people? Are you hanging around people that want you to succeed? Or are you hanging around people that don't want you to succeed? I talked yesterday in the podcast that I shelled about Ryan Leaf. If any of you know Ryan Leaf, he was probably the biggest NFL bust ever. And I just saw a meme or a video that he was talking to a team, a professional football team, and being very humble and forthright, and saying, "Look, I was terrible. The things I was doing wasn't right. I deserved what I got. I wasn't acting right." But he was talking about two things: relationships, and that he had met Peyton Manning when he was a rookie, and they still to this day have a good relationship, even though one of them turned out to be a great Hall of Fame quarterback, and he not so much. He was talking to the team, saying, "Look, everybody in this room wants you to succeed. Everybody in these organizations wants you to succeed, and everybody outside of that organization wants you to fail. And I know you have people in your life that probably want you to fail. You may not know it, but secretly they could want you to fail. I don't know what it is about human nature, but sometimes if you're hanging around you want to hang around those people that are encouraging you, that are helping you, that are getting back to you, that are helping you move forward, not the people that are just ignore you when you haven't done anything for them in the last week, and now they ignore you. They won't do anything for you. I'm very good about I'm being responsive to people. I just got a text this morning. Somebody needed something, got right on the internet, found out what she needed, send it back to her, and then I'm done, right? So, but I did what she asked me to do, and it wasn't that big a deal. I just want to help her out. I want her to be successful. So the first meme I pulled up was, every positive change in your life begins with a clear, unequivocal decision that you are going to either do something or stop doing something. So a metaphor I use a lot: working out, right? Going to the gym, getting out in the garage if you have a gym there, going for those walks, getting that 30 minutes to an hour of exercise in a day. Those are those things that you're going to start doing. Maybe you're eating the wrong things. You're eating ice cream all the time, or cookies. My wife and I have two different tastes. I'm a carbs guy, right? I like carbs. I like, pretzels and alcohol and things like that. She's more sweet. She likes ice cream, cookies, cakes. So those things we need to stop doing, is we need to stop eating those things, right? If we want to get to the point, we have her and I are hosting a dinner in 2 months, and we want to get looking better. So we have a little over 60 days to, get a few pounds off. It's not going to be 100 pounds. I don't need to lose 100 pounds, but, those are those things, right? So every positive change in your life begins with a clear, unequivocal decision that you are going to either stop doing something or start doing something. So that's a great way to, wake up in the morning and read that and say, you know what, I got to stop doing this or that. Get down to business, accomplish those goals, little chunks at a time, right? Get those goals out of the way. The next meme was, you don't have to be positive all the time. It's perfectly okay to feel sad, angry, annoyed, frustrated, scared, or anxious. Having feelings doesn't make you a negative person. It makes you human. And that's a big one, because we do get down on ourselves sometimes. A couple of weeks ago, or maybe last week, the weather was just misting in the morning, and the sun wasn't coming out during the day, and it was still hot. It wasn't cold. Couldn't wear a sweatshirt or anything. And it was kind of a little depressing to me. I like the sun. I like the heat. Well, I don't like the heat that much, but I like the sun out. I like the wind blowing. I like clear skies. I like those things. And I definitely have a different attitude when the weather is different than it was last week. So, but it's okay. Don't beat yourself up. You have a bad day, you're feeling anxious or scared, or you're fearing something that's coming up. You have some anxiety. It's all right. That's very human. Don't beat yourself up. Just get back on track as soon as you can. Maybe after you read a meme like this and you kind of realize that you're doing that to yourself, get back to a meme that's gonna pick you up, right? And I know you guys see these memes all the time. If you're on my Facebook page, I'm putting them out there every day. I'm not perfect at reading them and executing them either, but I try my best to get up in the morning and get a positive thought in my head right out of the gates, so the day turns out to be better. I'm not going to read every one of these, don't worry. This is a good one. You are the greatest project you will ever work on. And that is 100% without a doubt. It's the only thing that belongs to you, right? Your soul, your mind, it's really the only thing in the world. You might live in a nice house, but maybe it's mortgaged or whatever. Anything can be taken away from you, including your life. I understand, but they can never take away what you've done with the knowledge you have. Nobody can ever take that knowledge away, that love in your heart, that love in your soul, your relationship with your higher power. Nobody can take that away from you. And so if you're working on these things, if you're being positive, if you're making positive changes in your life, that's on you. And it's the greatest thing you could ever do. Talk about, one of my favorite memes is, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. And you are a great project to work on. If you ever get bored and you need to work on something and you just feel like you got to work on yourself, right? Go for that walk, read that book, go to my Facebook page, read one of those memes, get that positive feeling back in your heart. Sorry, I had to take a drink there. And it's just water, it's not alcohol. Every bad situation will have something positive. Even a dead clock shows correct time twice a day. 100%. I believe this with all my heart. I've had negative things happen to me. I've lost people. I've been in arguments. I've done things like that. 100% of the time, something good comes out of that. It could be my ability to go back and apologize to that person and create a better space with that person and my relationship with them. I've lost people. I have these great memories of my dad and stepdad and mom and friends that I've lost, and it's a positive thing to have them in my heart. I actually, this sounds really terrible, but I probably think about those people more if they hadn't been gone, right? We tend to be complacent with our friends and our family and not get back to them on a regular basis. But a lot of the people that I've lost, unfortunately, I know their birthdays. I think about them here and there. There's places I'll go and I'll think about that person, and it becomes loving. And you ever hear when one door closes, another one opens? I think that's true. I think that sometimes you got to kick that door a little bit, or bust it down, or go over the wall, or whatever you got to do. But I think those negative things motivate us a lot. Talk about those haters, people that want you to fail. That's a great motivation to succeed, and you should use it as that. You have to let go of who you were so you can become who you were capable of becoming. 100% again. I know I say that a lot, but we were less knowledgeable. We were probably less loving. We were probably less whatever a long time ago, and we've learned from those things. I know what you're capable of, or I should say it this way. I could draw out what you're capable of. I know how smart you are. I know how much love you have inside of you and how you can give that to the world. And you are the one that's going to talk yourself out of it, not me. That's what I always say everybody I meet, there's something great about that person, something they do, something they are good at that I can't do. Something that, a kindness or a persuasiveness or whatever it is. And like anything else, I see it in them more than I see it in me a lot of times. And, people will tell me positive things about me, and I'm like, I'm not so sure about that. And then my wife does it. She'll get mad at me, not mad, but say, you don't understand what I see. And it's the same way with her. She doesn't understand all the value I see in her. She doesn't always see it in herself. So that's a big one. You gotta let go of the past, man. We all have skeletons in our closet. We don't have to go in that closet anymore. It's shut. We locked it, threw the key away. It's done. It's in our past. Doesn't affect tomorrow. It should affect tomorrow in a positive way. Abraham Lincoln said he met many people in his life. What he learned mostly was what not to do. That's what we learned from the past. This is what we don't do. We did it once, it didn't work. I've said things to people that went, whoops, that went sour. And I won't do that again. I won't say that thing to people. Every single person on this planet has a story. Don't judge people before you truly know them. The truth might surprise you. 1,000,000%. That's why I talk about telling your story and being careful what the story you're telling yourself. You just don't know what people are going through. You don't know anything. I mean, I'm embarrassingly a little bit, I make fun of everybody, myself, family, friends, people I see. It's out of humor. It's not out of, I don't want to hurt anybody, and I don't go up to them and make fun of them. And that's bad on me, because I know that if I was able to sit down with those people, whatever person it was, people at Walmart or the grocery store or whatever, and talk to them, if I had that ability to sit down with them for 5 or 10 minutes, I would find that thing I love about that person. My mom was big on this. She'd always say, don't wish to walk in someone else's shoes. You just don't know what they've been through. And I told that story about Starbucks, where the video where the guy puts the glasses on and he starts, every time he looks at somebody, it tells him about a little bit about their story. There's a woman that looks sad, and the night before she had, gotten roughed up by her husband, and now she's out getting him coffee. We don't know if that person's in pain or what they're in. And those stories are super important, and no more important. The most important story is the one you're telling yourself, because that's really going to guide your path. Oh, there's a picture of food. That looks good. This is a good one. I get a lot of response, and a lot of people will share these a lot with certain, particular people or their friends or whatever. It's, don't feel bad if people remember you only when they need you. Feel privileged that you're like a candle that comes to their mind when there's a darkness. That's a great saying, because we do tend to, I tend to think that people only get a hold of me when they need something. And that's kind of a duh moment, that's true. They do. But I'm also thankful and grateful that they call me when they need something done. I know when I was younger, and your friends are moving a lot and things like that, and I had a truck, always had a truck, people would call me and knew I was efficient, and I would work hard, and I would stay there until it was done. I, of course, would complain about them calling me, but then I would love the fact that they did call me and we could get their stuff done. When I was younger, a friend of mine had a boat, and he would take us out water skiing. I was like 19 or 20. He would take us out water skiing, and when we were done, everybody would go, "Hey, that was cool, man, thanks," and just bail on this guy. And I always felt bad. I always stayed around, helped with the boat. He always waxed his boat when he was done. I would give him money for gas. It's expensive having a boat, and it's a lot of work. And I just was always so grateful that he even asked me, that I always stayed and helped out. And so when people do call you and ask for advice, or just text you and kind of lean on you, you're you're the light in their life. That's what we need to do. Don't feel bad if they only call when they need you, and because they think of you. That's pretty important and pretty cool that they think of you. This is one I'm always telling you guys. You have the power to achieve greatness and create anything you want in life, but you must take action. Just talked about that with the books. You guys have the power inside of you. I guarantee you 100 million% that you have the power inside your mind, your heart, your soul, and you can achieve anything you want if you put your mind to it, but you got to take action. You want to lose 50 pounds? It starts on day one when you get out there and do a little exercise and eat right. Get some knowledge, and I always use this as a metaphor, because I went through this and had to, I lost quite a bit of weight and got in really good shape, which I'm not now. And I keep talking about that shit too, because I'm not taking action, and it irritates me. But this is huge. Life is all about action. You need to get off your ass and do it. Small chunks, right? You don't have to, it's not going to happen in a week, but these are those things, those little, those holy moments that you string together. I've talked about that in the past too. So that's a big one. You got to take action if you want to succeed. And that's what this podcast is about. I had decided, right, that I was going to do this podcast. I told you about the statistic that about 70% of podcasts end after 7 months because people just stop. Unfortunately or fortunately, I'm not ending. So get used to me being in front of you once a week with some great guests coming up and all those kind of things. And here's The Rock looking at me saying, don't think about what can happen in a month. Don't think about what can happen in a year. Just focus on the 24 hours in front of you and do what you can to get closer to where you want to be. Small chunks, right? 24 hours. If I could stop drinking for 24 hours, if I could stop eating that junk for 24 hours, and you start again. 24 hours later, you start again. Small chunks, daily, daily discipline, little thing. If you screw up, just keep going, right? If you get weak, I'm going to a ribbon cutting today, and they're going to have food that I probably shouldn't be eating. I'm probably going to eat it because I haven't eaten today. So those are those things, right? And it's those little chunks, and you put enough of those chunks together, and all of a sudden you're where you want to be, or closer to where you want to be. And that's a big deal. That's too long. Never give up on what you really want to do. The person with big dreams is more powerful than the one with all the facts. That's an interesting statement. Never give up on what you really want to do. The person with big dreams is more powerful. I think the big dreams is just motivation, right? It's just you'll find out all the facts as long as you keep going. I said something yesterday that you're not going to hear, obviously, is that sometimes you think you know what you want, but when you start digging into it, it's more work than you thought. And that's okay. Then that's a good way to decide that you're not going to go forward with that. But you know that everything you try to do, everything you want to do, is probably more work than you think it is right now. But if you want it bad enough, you'll put that work in. You will get that information. You will search on the internet. You will ask your friends. You will ask experts. And you will learn how to do it if you want it bad enough. And I know you do. Here's a good one. A great attitude becomes a great mood. A great mood becomes a great day. A great day becomes a great year. And a great year becomes a great life. That's just exactly what this podcast is about, right? Getting up in the morning, putting some nutrients in your head. And I say nutrients, I say good information, positive information, affirmations, whatever you want to call them, manifestations, whatever you want to call it. Your attitude has so much to do with how you're going to approach life, with how you're going to approach problems, with how you're going to get over hurdles in your life that everybody has. That attitude is so important. You think about going to and now that we're not wearing masks every day, today at least, the difference when we when we started wearing masks, you couldn't smile at people. You could smile at them, but they couldn't tell you were smiling at them. Some people's eyes light up, but that was hard for me when I was, when Kit and I go for a walk, if we see another couple or another person, we'll always say good morning or hello or something. And it's nice just to have that person acknowledge you and smile. And it's a good thing for us to do. And sometimes we walk by people and say something. They don't have headphones and they won't say a word. It's kind of grumpy, but we did our part. We reached out and said hello and all those things. And it's just so nice to smile at people, and it changes their attitude too. They could be having a real bad day and you could go up and smile at them and say good morning, or, I like your shoes, or whatever, some kind of compliment. Oh, your child's so beautiful, whatever. And it just changes your attitude and changes the person's attitude you're talking to. I know these are all very basic things, but you all know you don't do enough of this, because I don't do enough of it. So, I'd never sit here and tell you that I'm I'm perfect or that I know everything. I'll never say that to you. But I do know that your attitude has a lot to do with how your day is going to be, your year, your month, your life, right? You just have those, I think I'm one of those people that's just upbeat 99% of the time. I have my moments, believe me. But for the most part, I'm very upbeat, confident. And confident is an interesting word, because you can act confident and not feel it, right? So that's one of the reasons I do these daily affirmations. Here's a good one. This is from the Dalai Lama. Choose to be optimistic. It feels better. Doesn't it feel better? It takes less muscles to smile than it does to frown. Doesn't it just feel great when you have hope and you have you're an optimist and you're thinking, look, it's all going to work out. It just makes your whole body warm. It just makes your whole body feel better. And it puts that smile on your face that other people see, and then maybe you put a smile on their face. I don't know. I saw this woman the other day, very beautiful woman, and I was gonna tell her how she just because I looked at her and she was really strikingly pretty, and I was gonna say, "Man, you're just really pretty," but I didn't. I was with Kit, and that's not why I didn't say it. Kit would probably have agreed. It was that now I'm so scared about saying something I'm gonna insult somebody, and I bet you that would have made that woman's week. Wasn't hitting on her or anything. She just was just she just struck me as very pretty, and it was kind of a surprise because I turned around and boom, there's her face, and I was just I was hesitant, and that's terrible that we were hesitant about that because it was such a nice compliment for her, and I've done that at other places, and the gal just lights up, and guys too. I mean, I'll see guys that we were on the plane going to Hawaii, and this couple got on the plane, and this guy was just shredded. I mean, he was just in such good shape. And we didn't say anything to him. Of course, this was masks and everything like that. But I got news for you. If I would have said something to him, the guy would have went. He would have had a great day after that, right? It would have felt good for him. Wasn't any ill will towards it. It was just, hey, you worked your ass off. You deserve a compliment. Oh, this is a good one. And this is what my whole podcast, this is kind of the basis of my whole podcast. If I could give you one thing in life, I would give you the ability to see you through my eyes. Maybe then you would realize how special you are to me and the world. Man, this is the nucleus of my message to everybody I run into. If you could see what I see in you, you could conquer anything out there, right? You could just, man, if you could just look in the mirror and see what people see in you, the good points and all the and whatever, even if it's bad stuff that you've overcome. And this is just the nucleus to everything I'm trying to do with youth, with my friends, with in business, in this project I'm working on. This is everything. And I'm going to read it again because it's so important. If I could give you one thing in life, I would give you the ability to see you through my eyes. Maybe then you would realize how special you are to me and the whole world. It almost chokes me up to say it because it's it's what I've decided my life needs to become. It needs to be that person that sees those positive things in you and draws them out, right? And that's why I encourage you to email me if you're having, you know, some issues or you just want to talk or, whatever. edfranklin.nolimits@gmail.com. Just email me and we can chat. We can chat on the phone. We can text. I can call you. We can do whatever you want. I know that's a risk if I get a lot of people to do that. I'm not a counselor or anything. I just feel like I see things in people that are positive, and I choose to do that. You can choose to do that too. It's not, do I see some shitheads? 100%. I see those too. But even those guys, those girls, those people, I see positive things in them too. And if they're acting like that, more than likely they haven't had anybody tell them or encourage them or, you know, uh, see into them and see those good things. And that's sad because we should all have those people in our life that can do that for us. Just think if we all did that to each other, not getting, overly mushy. If you just did that, if you just saw the positive in people instead of negatives, and I'm not good at it all the time, by the way. I try to be, but sometimes some people just, man, they just wear me down. Just think how the world would be. Just think of a trip to Walmart or the grocery store, and you just looked at everybody and went, man, you know, that couple's it's a good looking couple. They're really nice. They have nice kids. The kids are well behaved. Um, you see a guy with a World War II hat on it. Man, I really appreciate what the service that guy, that he did for our country. Or you see a guy in uniform or a girl in uniform, and you're like, man, I just really appreciate what these people do, in the military for us and keep us free and all those things. And I'm not even saying telling them. If you just got into your mind that just said to yourself something positive about those people, it would change your attitude. It would help your attitude that day. It would make you walk on air out of that store. Something to ponder. I mean, think about it. I'll tell you what, we should do an experiment. You just do that as an experiment for yourself. You keep track of yourself. And just the next time you go into a store, a big box store, something like that, and you're going to run into a lot of people or a concert or wherever you're at, Instead of looking at people and going, oh my God, I can't believe she's wearing that, say, wow, that girl works hard in the gym and she can pull that outfit off. I mean, it's different. It would change your attitude in life. It would change your attitude that day for sure. All right, on to the next. I'm not going to do this all day, but I think I'm kind of having fun doing this, really. The secret to your future is hidden in your daily routine. Back to what I said originally. First thing I do when I get up is boom, hit that Facebook and put a meme out there, something positive for people. The other thing I've been doing recently since my birthday, I got over 500 well wishes on my birthday, and I was just overwhelmed with that. On Facebook, it comes up, these 11 people have a birthday. I send them a birthday message. Don't even know them. But I know how good it felt for me to get it from people I didn't know. I feel I'm going to reciprocate and give it to those people. On the weekends, I don't always get on the computer, but I always go back on Monday and go back over the weekend and wish those people a happy birthday. So daily routines, small chunks, be positive, all those great things. Another good one. Don't downgrade your dream just to fit your reality. Upgrade your conviction to match your destiny. That's an interesting one. I think that sometimes I talked about this in my podcast about worthiness, about being satisfied with where I was at because I didn't think I was worthy to have those things. Look, if you don't want a Ferrari or a Lambo, or you don't want a big house, that's your choice. Everybody wants something different in life. I see people often post it, oh, if I hit the lottery, I'd get a cabin out in the woods. I would not do that. That's not what my dream would be. I'd have a penthouse and call down from my car when I needed my Ferrari. It's just we have different goals, different wants and likes and loves. And some guys like blonde, some girls like big guys, some girls like small girls, whatever. That's an individual thing, but don't downgrade your dream just to fit your reality. Upgrade your conviction to match your destiny. So get convicted to what you want to do. If you want those nice things in life, if you want that relationship, if you want that better job, then commit to that and up your conviction for that. Learn more, find out how other people did it, emulate what they did, find those successful people in your field and talk to them and say, how did you do this? I have found that 99% of the time, a very successful person has no problem sitting down and talking with you. You ask them a question, they have no problem. The ones that keep telling you how great they are, the post I did today was, a lion never has to tell anybody he's a lion because he's a lion. If somebody's out there telling you how much money they make and how successful they are, and half these guys that are driving Lambos are leasing them and they're up to their neck in debt, whatever, those are the ones that won't talk to you. Those are the snobs. Those are the rude ones. The ones that really have it are the ones that have no problem sitting down with you for 10 minutes. So if you want whatever you want in life, find out somebody else that's got it, and that's the people to talk to. Behavior speaks. Pay attention to those who don't clap when you win. That's an interesting one. I don't really pay attention either way. But that's that one I was talking about where people want you to fail, right? You do something great and they go, oh, great. I did something great. Your friends are the ones that are going to call you and go, oh my God, dude, that is the most awesome thing. Congratulations on what you just did. I can't wait to see what else is coming. And then you reciprocate and say, no, I know you did this. I saw that, so behavior speaks, right? How you act, how that attitude, remember that smile I was talking about. Pay attention to those who don't clap when you win. Those are the people you don't want to surround yourself with. You want to get out of their world quick. The strongest people make time to help others, even when they're struggling with their own personal problems. Big, huge deal. I thought I've been good at this. I don't really, if I'm having some problems, if I'm down, if something's happened in my life that's depressing or whatever, I won't take it out on my friends, right? If they still need something, I'm there for them. And I don't need to talk about what I'm going through. A lot of times it's none of anybody's business, but I still know that they need me. So, right, they've called me, they need me, they've texted me, they've emailed me, they've done whatever, and I need to still help them. So the strongest people make time to help others. I mean, I just think that's what our whole world should be doing, helping each other, and there's a picture of a guy on a rock pulling somebody else up on the rock he's on, and that's awesome. I love that. I love that saying. We are all faced with a series of great opportunities, brilliantly disguised as impossible situations. This one's hard to understand, because, but if you go back 10 years, I hope some of you were young enough that 10 years you were in elementary school. But for those who weren't, go back 10 years, tell me where you were at, tell me where you're at today. But your attitude is different. The money you're making, the job you're in, the house you're in, the blah, 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 blah. Even though the economy's been rough the last 10, 15 years, rough as it's just been up and down, up and down. We're all faced with a series of great opportunities, brilliantly disguised as impossible situations. I think when you're at your worst, I always kid around and say, God's got a great sense of humor, because he'll put me through things and it always comes out okay. And I have that faith that everything's going to work out okay. But you got to do those daily things. You got to do some of these other means we talked about already, and that'll help you boost yourself forward. This was a funny one. I've kidded about burning bridges before, and you've heard the story about. They say it's about Napoleon. I don't know if that's true or not. Where he's gonna, if you got to burn the boats if you want to take the island, right? You can't have a escape route when you're heading towards success. This one says, if standing up for yourself burns a bridge, I have matches we write at dawn. And I agree. I've had to stand up for myself in the past. I'm in a situation right now. I'm having to stand up for myself, and I'm not letting it go. I think I was kidding around. I think I was dead wrong. I think someone did something wrong, and I'm not, and I'm calling them out. I'm not, most people would tell me just to get over it and let it go. I'm not letting it go because it was wrong. And like I said, standing up for yourself burns a bridge. I have matches we write at dawn. My relentlessness is going to burn a couple bridges with some people, and that's all right. If they stay on the side of this situation that's the wrong side, then I don't need them in my life anyway. Those are those people I don't need to be hanging around. This is a good one. This is kind of a Gary V thing. I think he'd say something like this: embarrassment is the cost of entry. If you aren't willing to look like a foolish beginner, you'll never become a graceful master. I got this. I have, looking over, I got a lot of comments on this post because when I started this podcast, and I'll tell you a funny story that happened today. When I started this podcast, I didn't know what I'm doing. I still don't really know what I'm doing, by the way. I figured out how to get it online. And I'm going through all this marketing stuff that you young kids know, and I'm trying to learn it. My grandson told me yesterday and something else today. He said, Papa, you need better equipment, right? And I said, well, I'll get that better equipment once I, get more listeners and do all those things. And, at some point I hope to have somebody else pay for the equipment and put me in this nice studio. That could happen. And he was talking to me today, telling me in his mind, he's 14 years old. So I was telling him about these YouTube shorts that my son was telling me about, to clip out some parts of my podcast and put in. And he says to me, are your podcasts good enough to clip something out of it? And I thought, well, Carson, you're not really my target market. So I know that when you listen to my podcast or you hear me doing a podcast, it's probably not interesting to you, but I hope it's interesting to somebody, and I'm getting more listeners and I'm boosting my posts and people are getting engaged. But he's so friggin' honest. It's funny. It's a little bit, he doesn't hurt my feelings, but it's like, good Lord, I thought I was a little bit more relevant. But he is, of course, 14 years old and doesn't know anything about business and things like that. And he doesn't understand that a lot of the world is struggling, and people that are listening are struggling a little bit. These things are, but I guess that's part of it. If you aren't willing to look like foolish beginner, then you'll never become a graceful master. I mean, I don't claim to be good at this yet. I hope to get better, and we'll continue to work on it to get better. But listen, think about the first time you played tennis or you played a sport and you just were sucked at it. I mean, everybody sucked. Gary V put something on the other day that said, everybody started with 0 listeners. Just get content out there. Everybody started with 0 listeners, just like me, just like him. Uh, he said he didn't start doing any of this until he was 30 years old. I'd love to get him on my podcast and tell him I didn't start till I was 59, so or 58. So that's just one of those things. You got to be willing to put yourself out there. If you ever get up and speak in front of people the first time, and it's not easy, it's nerve-wracking, it's weird. But as you get doing it more and more, it's better. I had a guy yesterday tell me he's 50, and he says, I've never really spoken in front of people. I don't know if I can do it. I said, why? Why can't you do it? And I said, you've been on podcasts. You can talk in front. You could be talking in front of a million people. You don't even know it. And I always kid to people and say, look, I can't see without these glasses. So if I'm standing on a stage, if I'm lucky, if I can see the first row of people, if the stage is large. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm talking to 6 people. It could be, I wish there were 60,000, but that's all I know. So don't be willing to look like a fool to start out. I mean, everybody has to start somewhere. Imagine when, Jordan or any of these guys were athletes. They just didn't learn all this stuff. They weren't born great athletes. They became great athletes. They sucked originally. Everybody does. I won't read that one. I'll just say a couple more and then we'll get off here. Here's a good one from Michael Phelps. You can't put a limit on anything. The more you dream, the farther you get. I'm a big proponent of that. The bigger the dream, the better. If you only get halfway to the biggest dream in the world, you're halfway to the biggest dream in the world. If you have this little small dream, like I'm going to get it to the corner tomorrow, and you get there, you're like, well, fuck, I'm at the corner. So what? Dream big, man. Dream big or go home. I had a friend of mine was actually a owner of this gigantic company that lost his son when his son was like 17 years old. And the kid was playing hockey and he had like a heart attack. Just the weirdest, freakish thing. About a month later, we were at this big sales rally and he was there to speak, and he and his wife got up to talk at this rally. And I was just blown away that they could even hold it together and they talked about their son. His name was Travis. And I think it might've been their only child too. I'm not sure, but afterwards I said to him, Jerry, I can't believe you were able to get up and talk about your son like that and just not, break up. I don't know if I could ever do that if I lost a child. And, he said my son was so inspiring to me, and here he's 17 years old, that his favorite motto was go big or go home, right? That was his thing. And they had a sign at the place that said go big or go home, and people would hit it, like an NFL team running out. And the guy was just really inspiring to me, super smart. Just when he hit, I just still can't believe he and his wife, I'm thinking about it now when I remember the day. It was up at the Disneyland Hotel, and he got up there and talked about his son, and it was quite moving and inspirational at the same time. But go big or go home. I see. No one notices when the strong one is tired of being strong. That's heavy, man. That's really heavy. So I think as a patriarch of our family, right? When the kids were younger, and all you parents know this, there's days you're just like, you're done, right? It's just, maybe you had a bad day at work, maybe traffic was bad, maybe you got in a car accident, God forbid. And then you get home and the kids are, I need this, I need that, I need this. You got to make dinner, you got to get them to bed, you got to give them baths, you got to do all these things. But you never hear moms, shouldn't hear moms, and I never heard my mom complain a bit about having children. I've gone on rants about kids sometimes because it just seems like it was never ending. But as I was talking to somebody yesterday, how blessed am I to have 8 children and 14 grandchildren? I mean, there's people in the world without running water. And I'm in this bitchin' house with a great wife, awesome kids, awesome grandkids, super good friends. I have a podcast. I have every one of you listeners are my favorite listeners. So, but some days, you're just like, you had enough. But no one notices when the strong one is tired of being strong, because they look to certain people for strength. That could be you. People could be looking to you for strength. I would say two things about that. You're probably not, they're going to still look to you for strength, whether you're tired or not. And what was the second thing that I had it in my mind? There's a reason why they look to you, because you are that strong, and you're going to have days, dude. You're just going to have those moments, but you got to fight through them. They're looking to you for help and for your wisdom, for your strength, and for your tenacity. And they're looking for that smile too, because they know when you smile, you're not going to hurt anybody. All right, a couple more. A wise man said, "Do not seek revenge. The rotten fruits will fall by themselves." This one came up to me when I just talked about this thing that I'm still fighting through. And I don't really call it revenge. I call it the right thing to do. Right? It's one thing to have someone burned in, and you just got to get back at it. You got to do something that's going to. That's not the case in here at all. And I had to think about that when this meme came up. I remember when I posted this thing, it's July 25th. I had to think about this because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't just being vengeful, right, or hateful, or just had to one up this person. That's not the case at all. It's about doing the right thing, right or wrong. That's only what it's about. So that's an interesting one. And this revenge thing and hate and all that just eats you from the inside out. It won't allow you to have that smile when you go in that store. All right, looking at pictures. Oh, this is the last one I'm going to read, and then I'll get off of here and get you out of here for the weekend. Your faith can move mountains, and your doubt can create them. So we're our worst enemy. We're our worst enemy. We are our worst enemy. We can create hurdles in our life that aren't even there. We create them in our head, right? I go through this sometimes. I'm like, I can't do this shit. It's like with all this social media stuff, I have to figure out ways to get my podcast out there. I could pay someone to do it, but I really can't afford the level of that I'd want, so I can get enough of it done on my own. Plus, I like the technology. I like learning. I like that. It's not going as fast as if I probably hired somebody. But sometimes I create these mountains. It's like, Ed, you can't do this. Bullshit. I can do it. Other people have done it. I can do it too. But that faith, if you believe in yourself enough, you can move those mountains. I used to kid with people when I was in the crane business. I was on construction sites all the time, and they would literally move mountains. I mean, you think it's just kind of this metaphor. It's not. They can move. Look at wherever you live. Probably used to live in a valley or a mountain, or they had where we're at in Penasquitos, this was just all mountainous area. You know how I know that? Because when I was a kid, it wasn't here. It was just a bunch of land, a bunch of mountains and things like that. And now it's not. It's houses. It's beautiful houses. So you can, I've watched guys move mountains. But those, the metaphor is that you can get over anything. You can get through it. You can get through anything that you think is a mountain. But you got to get it out of your mind that you can't. If you think you can't do it, you're not going to be able to do it. And I just lied to you because I'm doing a couple more. So I don't want to end on that bad note, but you can do anything you want in life. You just got to take those small chunks, right? I know it's repetitive. I know you're probably sick of me saying it, but I'm going to pound it into your head until you pound it into your own head. Okay. In the middle of pain and disappointment and suffering, it is faith that whispers, this isn't permanent. Nothing lasts forever, good and bad, unfortunately. If you are not making enough money right now, you will eventually if you keep focused and keep working. Hard work, there's nothing to replace hard work. If you just keep focusing, educate yourself, read these memes, go to school, don't go to school, go to trade school, do whatever you can. Your situation today is temporary. It is not permanent. So keep working hard. Keep listening to my podcast. Do that in there. Keep sharing my podcast. Do that one in too. And keep that dream alive. Keep that focus in your head that you're going to get things. What you're going through now, the pain you're going through now. When I had that knee problem a few weeks back, I knew it was temporary. It was painful. It was horrible, but it's gone. And I knew that was not permanent. It was just something I had to go through right then. And the last one, let me find something. Last one I'm going to stop on. If you don't control your mind, somebody else will. They say I kind of got tired of selling certain items in certain industries, making other people rich, knowing that I could do this myself, right? Sometimes, and I've thought about this before, opening your own business in California is tough, right? Taxes, there's a lot of, if you guys are business owners, you understand what I'm saying. It's a lot to do to open your business. You have to be passionate about what you're doing to keep a business open. But if you don't control your mind, someone else will. You need to educate yourself. You need to read. You need to find out what the truth is and what the truth isn't. Look at this political situation in right now. And I'm not getting political. I'm just saying don't let somebody else tell you what reality is. You figure it out. If someone tells you, oh, you don't want to go into that business, it sucks, you have to do this and that, don't listen to them. I was told that I would be a horrible salesman. You cannot go back into sales. I got a sales job 2 weeks later, and I've been doing sales for 30 years. Don't listen to other people all the time. I have this kid. I was so impressed by this kid. I've known him for years. He works in the grocery store where I shop, and he used to be in the other one where I shop. And super nice kid. He's married. He has a couple kids, small kids, and he's been going to school, which I didn't know. I see him at the store. I talk to him for a few minutes. And he just told me the other day, he's been with this grocery store for like 13 years. And he just told me the other day he's quitting. He's finally finished school and he's going to work in financial world. He's like an accountant or a CPA or something. And I said, man, I could not do that for a living. It's just not in my wheelhouse. But this kid worked so hard in school, keeping his family together, working in this grocery store, doing something he didn't like for a long time while he did something, working towards something he loved. And he's finally, on September 10th, he just told me yesterday, is his last day in the grocery store, and he's going to start his new career, new life, new attitude. If he would have asked me, should he be this? I would have said, I'd never do that. That job would suck. But he found out that this is something he really enjoys. And he's going to be really good at it because he enjoys it. So look, I'm going to get off here now. I really appreciate you guys listening. You have no idea how much I appreciate it. And please share my podcast, like my page, my Facebook page, edfranklin.nolimits Facebook. Just keep sharing. If you hear something you like, if you think somebody could benefit from this particular podcast because it was pretty upbeat and there was, we covered some stuff, please let them know to listen. And go back into my archives, go to my YouTube channel, edfranklin.nolimits, and subscribe to my page. I'd really appreciate it. And keep sharing. Have a fantastic weekend. Remember, it's edfranklin.nolimits@gmail.com. Keep up the good work. Keep fighting the good fight. Contact me if you feel the need. If you'd like to be on my podcast or know somebody that would be beneficial to me and you and other people that are listening, I'd appreciate it. Have a fantastic weekend. And I love all you guys. Keep doing what you're doing. Have a great weekend.